Welcome back to EduMoon tutorial series. I'm Guru Renuka, instructor for the subject Elements of Electrical Engineering. So in the last session, we have learnt about hysteresis, right? And in today's session, in today's lecture, we are going to study about Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction and then about induced EMF. Induced EMF, it is of two types, dynamically induced EMF and statically induced EMF. In statically induced EMF, further there are two types, that is self-induced EMF and then mutually induced EMF. So in today's session, we are going to learn about EMI and EMF. So let's get started now. Electromagnetic induction, the phenomena of production of EMF and hence current in a conductor or coil when the magnetic flux linking the conductor or coil changes is called electromagnetic induction. In short, EMI. Okay, this is the definition. It is this way. When the magnetic flux linking a conductor changes, an EMF is induced in the conductor, right? So, if the conductor forms a loop or a circuit, a current will flow in it. This phenomenon is nothing but electromagnetic induction. Okay, this is EMI. Now we will look what actually the emphasis is not on the magnetic flux, but it is on the change in magnetic flux. So you have to remember the term change in the magnetic flux linking the conductor. This is very important, okay? Now we will see what Faraday's laws are. Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction are of two types. One, it is, there are two laws. One, it is the first law and then the second law. First law tells about the condition in which this EMF is induced. And the second law, it gives the magnitude of the induced EMF. Okay, now we will see what it is. First law, when the magnetic flux linking a conductor or coil changes, an EMF is induced in it. Okay. So when the magnetic flux linking the conductor changes, an EMF is induced. So it states the situation. Okay. This is the first law. Now the second law. The magnitude of the EMF induced in a conductor or coil is directly proportional to the rate of change of flux linkages. When we mention the word rate, it indicates time. Okay. So if we consider a conductor, say a coil, okay, see, we have considered a coil. It has a conductor, a coil. It has n turns. Initially the magnetic flux was phi1 and then it changed it to phi2. Okay, now what is the rate of change of magnetic flux linkages? The rate, first of all, the change of flux is n phi2 minus n phi1. Then the rate of change of magnetic flux linkages is when you divide it by T. So this induced EMF is directly proportional to n phi2 minus n phi1 by T. So E is n into d phi by dt. This is what, no? See, the rate of change. We denote it by d by dt. So E equals to n into d phi by dt. This is in terms of magnitude. Then what about direction? We will look at that also. See, now direction of induced EMF and then direction of current. First, direction of induced EMF. It is determined by Lenz's law. According to Lenz's law, this induced EMF tends to set up current which produces flux that opposes the change of flux responsible for the induced EMF. It is confusing? No, we'll make it simpler now. See, what did I say just now? Yeah, this induced EMF, okay, it is set okay, this EMF is induced when magnetic flux changes, right? Okay, EMF is induced. This induced EMF tends to set up current which produces flux. This flux opposes the change of flux responsible for the induced EMF. You got it? It's like a cycle, but it's simple. So since it is opposing the change, we indicate it with a negative minus sign. So E equals to minus n into d phi by dt. This is about the direction of induced EMF. Now we will look at direction of current. Direction of current, it is given by Fleming's right hand rule. This way. Okay. Your forefinger gives the direction of magnetic field. Your thumb gives the direction of motion of conductor and your middle finger gives the direction of induced current. So this is this way. This gives the direction of magnetic field, this gives the direction of motion of conductor, and your middle finger gives the direction of induced current. This is about Fleming's right hand rule, which determines the direction of current. Now, induced EMF. This induced when the magnetic flux linking a conductor changes, an EMF is induced, right? This induced EMF can be brought in two ways. First, it is dynamically, and the other one is statically. We will see how it is dynamic. When the conductor is moving in a stationary magnetic field such that a magnetic flux change occurs, then obviously an EMF is induced, and then that is what we call dynamically induced EMF. It is dynamic because the conductor is moving. This thing we find in AC or DC generators, okay? Then coming to statically induced EMF, the conductor is stationary, but the magnetic field is either moving or changing. See, this is the difference. Here the conductor is moving, here the conductor is stationary. So when the conductor is stationary, but the magnetic field is moving or changing, the change in magnetic flux results in inducing EMF, which is static. So statically induced EMF. This thing we find in a transformer. Statically induced EMF are further self-induced EMF and mutually induced EMF. We will see this within few minutes. Now coming to dynamically induced EMF. If we consider a conductor of say length L, I have considered a conductor of length L. Please bear with my drawing skills. Okay, we have considered a conductor with length L which is moving in a uniform magnetic field, and it is moving at right angles to the uniform magnetic field B. Say it is moving with a velocity v. If this conductor moves by a distance dx, okay, in a time interval dt, it moves by a small distance dx in a small time interval dt, then if the induced EMF is E, we will see how we will get E. E is n into d phi by dt, right? We got it earlier. This is L. Length of the conductor is L, and it has moved by distance dx. So what is the area? Area is L into dx. And we know flux is B into area. So it is B into L dx. Okay? Now, if we consider n to be 1, and then d by dt of what is flux? B into L into dx, right? So it is B into L into dx by dt. Dx by dt gives velocity. So it is BLV. E equals to BLV, its units are volts. This E equals to BLV when the conductor is moving at right angles to the uniform magnetic field. What if the conductor moves at an angle theta? Then V is the perpendicular normal one is component of velocity is V sine theta. So E equals to BLV sine theta volts. Its units are volts. So this is about induced EMF. Now we will see about self-induced EMF and mutually induced EMF. Now, statically induced EMF, in which we will look at self-induced EMF. Self-induced EMF is the EMF induced in a coil due to the change of its own magnetic flux linked with it. That is, see, if we consider a conductor, a coil, which has n turns, and it is carrying a current I. As it is carrying a current, a magnetic field is set up around it, right? So, when this magnetic field changes, when the current in the coil changes, magnetic flux also changes. According to Faraday's law, as magnetic flux is changing, obviously an EMF is induced. And this EMF is induced because the current is changing in its own coil. So, hence it is self-induced EMF. So the magnitude of this self-induced EMF is given by n into d phi by dt. This is magnitude. Then the direction of induced EMF is given by Lenz's law, which we saw just earlier, right? Okay. So when current in a coil changes, an EMF, self-induced EMF is induced in it, which opposes the change causing it. So the induced EMF opposes the cause which has induced the EMF. So it opposes the change of current in the coil. You understand, right? So when current in a coil changes, an EMF, which is self-induced EMF, is induced in it, which opposes the change of current in the coil. And this property of the coil is self-inductance, which we denote with L, or we can simply call it inductance too, okay? So this I'll tell you how. This EMF or the self-inductance is like the society. You'll get to know. See here. When the current in coil is increasing, self-induced EMF is set up in a direction so as to oppose the rise of current, okay? And the direction of this induced EMF is opposite to the applied voltage, okay? And when the current in coil is decreasing, self-induced EMF or the voltage will be such as to oppose the decrease in current, and its direction is same as the direction of applied voltage, okay? So if you see, it is like the society. The society doesn't want you to be the same. It wants you to change. But when you change, it opposes the change. Right? Same way here too. Hope you understand. Okay. Now from this, what do you understand? L, self-inductance L, depends upon the shape and number of turns N. And it also depends upon the relative permeability of material surrounding the coil. And it depends upon the speed with which the magnetic field changes. Right? And then we will get some relations now. We know that E equals to N into d phi by dt, right? And so this E is directly proportional to di by dt. We know E equals to N into d phi by dt, and this N phi is directly proportional to di by dt. And so E is directly proportional to di by dt, and when you equalize it, E equals to some constant into di by dt. This constant is L, self-inductance L. So in terms of magnitude, E equals to L into di by dt. Its units are Henry, denoted by capital H. When you consider the direction also, E equals to minus L into di by dt. Now we will look at few relations. See, we know E equals to, in terms of magnitude, E equals to L into di by dt, and so L equals to E by di by dt. This is the first relation. Secondly, we know E equals to N into d phi by dt. We can equate this one and this one, right? So when you equate, what do you get? You get L into di equals to N into d phi. That is L equals to, when you integrate, L equals to N phi by I. This is the second relation. Remember. Now we'll get the third one. We know that magnetic flux is a magnetomotive force by reluctance, right? MMF by S, we have seen in the first lecture, I guess. Yeah. MMF is N into I, number of ampere turns into current Ni, and reluctance is L by A mu naught mu R, right? So from this, from flux equals to Ni by L by A mu naught mu R, what do we get? Flux by I equals to N by L by A mu naught mu R, right? So what is d phi by di? It is N by L by A mu naught mu R, right? And we know from this relation, L equals to N into d phi by di. And d phi by di is this thing, right? When you substitute it here, you get N square by L by A mu naught mu R, which is nothing but reluctance. So that is N square by S. So self-inductance L equals to N square by reluctance S. Okay. Mutually induced EMF. The EMF induced in a coil due to the change in current in the neighboring coil is mutually induced EMF. This is kind of Elon Musk tweet. He tweets somewhere and the stocks of some another company changes. Here it is same way. So okay, now let us consider two coils A and B placed adjacent to each other. So the magnetic flux passing through A also passes or connects or links through B also, okay? So the flux passing is same, right, for both, and let us say that is what we call mutual flux phi m. So the flux linking with both A and B is mutual flux phi m. In case if the current in coil A changes, the flux phi m also changes, and so an EMF is induced in both. So the change in current in coil A induces an EMF in A, which is self-induced, okay? But in B, the change in current of coil A induces an EMF in B, which is mutually induced. That is what mutually induced EMF means, okay? So the magnitude of this mutually induced EMF is EM equals to NB into d phi m by dt. This is given by Faraday's law, and the direction of mutually induced EMF is given by Lenz's law, and it is always such as to oppose the very cause producing it. We have discussed it just now, right? Okay. So this property of two neighboring coils to induce voltage in one coil due to the change of current in another is called mutual inductance, which we denote by the symbol M. So the mutually induced EMF in coil B is directly proportional to the rate of change of current in coil A. So EM is directly proportional to di by dt, and EM equals to M into di by dt in terms of magnitude, and this M is mutual inductance. Here one more point, the coils A and B are said to be magnetically coupled, okay? So the units of M is Henry, H. When we consider direction also, EM equals to minus M into di by dt. So from this, let us get few relations. EM equals to M into di by dt, and so M equals to EM by di by dt, okay? Second one, EM equals to N2. N2 in the sense, the number of turns of coil B, let us call N2. So N for coil A, AB, if this is N1, this is N2. So EM equals to N, let the mutual flux be phi 12. Then EM equals to N2 into d by dt of phi 12, right? So from these two, when we equate these two, we get M into I1 equals to N2 into phi 12, from which M equals to N2 into phi 12 by I1. This is the second relation. So we have considered two coils A and B, each with turns N1 and N2 respectively. If the length of the coil is L and the area of cross section is A, and the mutual permeability is the relative permeability of the material is mu r, then how do we give this thing? We know this one, right? Phi 12 equals to MMF by reluctance S. MMF is Ni, right? Ampere turns into current. So it is N1 I1. So MMF equals to N1 I1 by L by A mu naught mu r. Okay? If we get this I1 here, phi 12 by I1 equals to N1 into A mu naught mu r by L. We got this relation M equals to N2 into phi 12 by I1. Phi 12 I1, we got this value. If we substitute it here, we get M equals to N1 N2 into A mu naught mu r by L. This part it is 1 by reluctance, right? So M equals to N1 by N2 by reluctance S. So this is all about mutually induced EMF. We learnt about self-inductance L and mutual inductance M. So how are we going to link both L and M? We'll see how. So this thing, coefficient of coupling K, it is the fraction of magnetic flux produced by the current in one coil that links the other. Okay, so if we consider two coils A and B, say the self-inductance of A is L1 and for B it is L2, and the mutual inductance is M. So we relate it as M equals to K into root over L1 and L2. If you get problems on this thing, you can solve it very easily because it's a very small relation, right? Okay. And now this is the summary that we have learnt in the 3 lectures, 1.1, 1.2 and 1.3 of the first chapter. And this ends the And this ends our first chapter, Introduction to Electrical Energy. So that's all for this session, guys. Thank you, and let us meet in the next session.